From the previous session, now that we have understood what is cloud computing, what are the cloud characteristics, and what are the cloud service models, let us now understand the different deployment models in cloud computing. What are the three different deployment models? Yes, public cloud, private cloud, and third is hybrid, mixture of these two. So what is public cloud? These are clouds which are open for use by general public. That means you and me can make use of it. Not necessarily only organizations, anybody can make use of it. And they provide us access beyond the firewall of the organization. They are fully hosted and managed by the third party vendors. The service providers are the one who will manage them, who will host them. We make use of them. That's what is generally called as public cloud. And public cloud is the most popular cloud of all the three. Your data is stored in the service provider's data center, and the provider is responsible for management and maintenance of all the data. Complete data center is taken care by the service provider. All the network connectivity, the power supply, recovery in case of crashes, all that is job of service provider. And in that data center, very important, not only my applications but even applications of others are going to be stored. That is, it is shared. So because you are sharing cloud computing resources among the network of users, public cloud offers great flexibility and cost saving. It is the cheapest, very cheap. Why? We are sharing, and whenever things get shared, automatically they become cheap. This is a good option if your demand for computing resources fluctuates. Sometimes what happens is our site will suddenly need high resources because the traffic has increased, maybe because of the offer period we have. Maybe there is a festival time, Christmas, Diwali, or some other important occasions. So suddenly there will be a surge in the traffic. So cloud computing, public cloud facilitates where based on our requirement we can increase the resources required. So you have to purchase the capacity on the basis of usage and scale up or scale down the server capability when the traffic reduces. That means it is very dynamic. Earlier we called it as elastic. That elastic behavior is really very good power of public cloud. This type of cloud environment is appealing to many companies because it reduces the lead time in testing and deployment of new products. Yes, what we do is we develop something and we want to test this in almost as in real-time environment. So we will create a test server, host our application in that, and in no time, after testing everything and finding it is all correct, in no time we can convert the test server into a production server. So we can have development, testing, production, not much difference. Easy migration can be happening from one to the other. That is also one big advantage here. What is the negativity? They are more vulnerable than private clouds, and there is no control of resources used or who shares them. Yes, I am there in that cloud, you are also there in that cloud, some other person is also there in that cloud. Everybody is sharing the resources and we don't have control on each other. But most of the times what has been found is the service providers have implemented cloud infrastructure in such a proper way, robust way, that none of our content will cross boundaries and become available to the others. That means they have pretty well implemented security. Of course, we are talking about the popular service providers like Amazon or maybe Azure or Google. So though it is a negativity, it is not really significant. Even though you don't control the security of the public cloud, all your data remains separate from others, and security breaches of public clouds are rare, very, very, very rare. Not many cases have been found till now. So that is what is public cloud. And most of our training also will be orienting on public cloud. How to use the public cloud for that to Windows Azure for hosting our applications and using them. Then we have got private cloud. Private cloud hosting solution known as internal or enterprise cloud resides on company's intranet or hosted data center where all your data is protected behind the firewall. That means what we have done now is we have created a virtualization environment within our organization, and people from outside the organization will not have access to that virtualization environment. We joined many physical machines, we clubbed all the hardware, let us say, and we created a virtualization environment within the organization. That's what we are referring here as private cloud. Whatever services public cloud is providing, same services private cloud is going to provide, but it will be restricted to the organization. So for whom is it a great option? Those companies which are very large in size and they have already got their expensive data centers built up. For them this is the best option, because they may not want to simply dump their current infrastructure. They want to make use of the current infrastructure and still make use of the cloud-like features within the organization. The virtualization feature, they want to use it within the organization, so that different projects, different teams can have a common platform, but again separated through virtual machines. You can go private cloud when you have strict security and data privacy issues. Yeah, you may probably be dealing with some very highly confidential data, and you at that particular point of time cannot afford to move that data to public environment. Then ideally, yes, you would move to the private cloud. What is the drawback? Yes, pretty high maintenance, management and updating, all that is taken care by the company itself. We get no benefit, and of course it is not shared, so it is going to be very expensive. That is the reason the world is now moving towards hybrid cloud. Now what is the hybrid cloud? Here the hybrid cloud consists of internal and external providers. That means it will be a mix of the public cloud and a private cloud. So within my premise, within my organization, I will create a private cloud and I will connect to a public cloud through VPN. Public cloud will provide me something called as a virtual network, in which I can extend the IP address, the subnets, onto the public. In the public cloud we can have a virtual network created, which is a natural extension of what we have in a private cloud. So the machines which are in public cloud will appear as if they are all in my local network on premise. So what is that? How is that we can make use of it? What we can do is the public applications which have to be used by people on internet, I will host them on the public cloud, but the data which my application has to manage, I will ensure that that data is there in the local private cloud. So the applications which are here would connect to the data which is here as if it is all local, and make the applications available to public, making the data more secure. So this is how basically a hybrid cloud is getting popular, and it is one of the easiest way for an organization to over a period of time probably test and migrate to public cloud completely, step by step process. That is why hybrid cloud is also very popular among large organizations. So yes, if you are an extremely large organization, then you would go for private cloud, or if there is a serious security and data policy issue, you will go for the private cloud. If you are a startup or medium sized organization, you'll go for public. But if you are a medium size and if you already have a good infrastructure, gradually you want to get rid of it and move towards internet public cloud, such case, right now go for hybrid. Over a period of time, move everything to public. When you're feeling everything is secure as per your requirement, you start trusting it, you get used to it, you move everything into public. So that is hybrid cloud. So yes, after this, finally now we are left with, in the introduction at least, what are the disadvantages and advantages of cloud computing. Honestly speaking, just to write I have written here something, but cloud has only advantages. Only for the name's sake there are disadvantages in today's date. Advantages: lower computing cost, improved performance, reduced software cost and instant software updates. We don't take care, service providers take care of it. Unlimited storage capacity, we can keep increasing as per our requirement. Universal access to our documents, increased data reliability, device independence. All this I have been talking about since beginning are basically the advantages of the cloud computing. What are the disadvantages? As I said, they are all only for the namesake. Requires a constant internet connection. Yes, if your internet connection is gone, you are disconnected from cloud. You are disconnected from all your resources. But that kind of question is not so often, especially in cities, and nowadays even small towns and villages have good internet connectivity. Infrastructure has decently improved in many places. Even in India, we have good infrastructure for connecting to internet nowadays. Through mobile also we can connect using 4G. Does not work well with low speed connections. Yes, that is also most of the time taken care of. Features might be limited based on provider you choose. Yes, this is the most important thing. Today you choose provider A, you realize it doesn't meet all your requirement and you want to move to provider B, it is not going to be a cheap affair. It is like a marriage between you and the service provider. So taking a divorce and trying to shift to another service provider is going to be pretty expensive. You may have to redo something, certain things almost from ground up. So you have to carefully take a decision about which service provider meets most of your requirement. Can be slow if not managed properly because it is shared among various users. If a service provider is not chosen properly or the service provider is not managing the resources properly in the virtualization, yes, it can become slow at times. Data might not be secured, but as I told you, service providers today have taken care of ensuring that there are no boundaries crossed. And most important point you have to take care of when you're talking about cloud is what are the policies. See, every country has got its own policies for data. What probably is legal in some countries is illegal in other countries. So if I'm a service provider and if I allow my clients to store data, store content, which probably is not legal to the country where my service or where my domain is, data centers are hosted, then it's going to become a big concern. So this is one point which probably has to be taken care of, especially when the data or the content is driven by the policy of the government of that country where the data centers are hosted. Otherwise, yes, I would not see other things as a big concern for anybody to make use of cloud. So yes, coming from top again, what is cloud computing? Cloud computing is all about moving the computing power from our on-premise infrastructure to a service provider infrastructure. Different characteristics of cloud, very important: ubiquitous, elastic, on-demand service, fully managed, service, software as a service, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service. That means by adapting to cloud, we are moving from product based to service based. Rather than buying a hardware which becomes my product, I am buying the hardware as a service, software as a service. Very important, you as a technical person would use cloud either as infrastructure as a service or platform as a service. And we are going to mostly talk about public cloud in rest of our course, but there is a possibility of having private cloud within the organization, and organizations today can have hybrid cloud with public things connecting to public. I mean, what is public, we can probably deliver that through public cloud and store all the data locally within the private for security reasons or company policies, and eventually see if we can move them also to public cloud and get rid of the complete hardware. Finally, the advantages and disadvantages of cloud computing. But what I want to surely convey here to you is whether for you today cloud is requirement or not, going forward it will become a necessity. Every developer, every user of internet will eventually have to move towards cloud. Whether it is banking domain applications, whether it is healthcare based applications, whether it is financial applications, for all of them there is a huge amount of infrastructure requirement, and it is day by day becoming very costly and almost impossible for organizations to manage within. So yes, it will be moved into cloud. You either adapt today or wait and adapt tomorrow, but you'll have to adopt cloud over a period of time. You don't have a choice. It is the thing going to happen with time, and we'll get used to it. Thank you.